Of course, there's always my way.
All right, what is going on, Nightmares? How are you guys doing today? So today is it. This is the moment we've been waiting for a very long time. I'm super excited. We have a very special guest. Well, we have two special guests with us tonight. So before we get into the video, guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome. Everybody here is family. We are a horror community. We are strong. So definitely hit that like button, guys. This is going to be an amazing video. Real quick, I want to shout out all the channel members for the channel. I have a special video for you guys, especially Nanette and Shape. I know you guys upgraded, so I got the membership video I'm going to show for the members. So if you guys are considering becoming a member of the channel, I'd really appreciate it. And then I got the upgraded membership video for when you upgrade. So I will definitely show you guys that as well. Then we'll introduce our guests and we'll get on with the stream, okay? So here we go, guys. Here's the membership video. Enjoy.
Again. Yes, I'm here to tell you about a brand new track.
First of all, don't forget to take home some of my tasty fried chicken. Ha-ha! Tastes damn good.
The boogeyman is real, and you found it.
All right, guys. So there was the membership trailer. So definitely consider becoming a member, guys. Exclusive photos, videos, watch parties, all that good stuff. So for Shape and Nanette, I'd owe you guys a upgrade video. So here is your upgrade video, guys. Enjoy.
Get out of here now. Hey, you forgot the power glove.
Be my high score.
I gotta love Robert Englund and Freddy Krueger. So thank you, guys. Thank you for being a member. Thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you for viewing tonight's stream. It's going to be a fun one. Now, let's get into the video. I know you guys are excited. Let's get this thing moving, okay? So you guys know and love him. I had to bring my boy up onto the stream. You know, Brennan over at I Like Scary. How are you, my good sir?
Oh, what's up, Nightmare Man? What's up, man? Feels good to be a horror fan.
Oh, yeah. It's always a good day to be a horror fan. Thank you for taking the time to come in on the stream, man. I really appreciate it.
Definitely,
right.
You know, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now the moment you have been waiting for. I am so excited. We just had an awesome day yesterday. We had the Terrifier 2 trailer just released. On top of that today, you guys, we have the greatest, the strong silent type, Art the Clown, a.k.a. Mr. David Howard Thornton. Welcome to the stream, Mr. David. How are you, my good friend?
I'm doing good. It's definitely been an eventful past day.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Actually, it looks like this is going to be an awesome Halloween all around. I'm like, they just also announced like the new Hellraiser movies coming out the same day we release. Well, not movie, but series. You know, it's just like, oh my God, it's like there's going to be so much good stuff coming out in October. I'm stoked.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, Terrifier 2. You know, we got that awesome trailer yesterday.
Yeah.
Big Terrifier fan. Art the Clown was something, you know, that when I first experienced him, I didn't know what I watched. All I knew was the black and white outfit, the face. I was like automatically in love with him. So I guess the first question, we'll get right into it. Now, the one thing I noticed about Art the Clown is he's kind of like a mime, right? He has like that mime-esque to him. Now, when becoming Art the Clown, like, did you do any like theater or like mime or clown school to kind of like get that experience to bring art to life? Or
Yeah. First of all, I want to address that because this is a question I get all the time. Is he a mime or is he a clown? And there is a difference. He's a silent clown, and this is the difference between silent clowns and mimes. I want to put this to rest. He is a silent clown. Mimes. Oh. No offense to Marcel Marceau. May he rest in peace. But yeah, it's like the difference is silent clowns use props and mimes do not. That's why they pantomime everything, hence the name mime. So yeah, that's the difference. You know, it's like, yeah, if Art was a mime, it would be hard for him to kill people with, you know, knives and all that kind of stuff. You'd have to be like, just pretend he's stabbing people or something. Like, use your imagination. But yeah, that's the difference there. But no, I actually don't have real training in clown work or mime. I'm just like a lifelong lover of just like physical comedy and clowning in general. I grew up watching like the great silent film era actors, like, you know, Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton. No, I mean, Harpo Marx was amazing. But my aunt also gifted me like a great box set of the Mr. Bean videos when I was about 13 years old. And that's what really got me into loving to do that kind of physical comedy, because I love that character so much. Because he's such a mischievous little jerk at times. And I'm like, oh my God, but he's so funny. And it's all, you know, barely speaks. I was like, God, I would love to be able to play a character like that. And so, yeah, I did a lot of physical comedy doing children's theater, of all things. And that's where I really fine-tuned my skills for all those years. And I was lucky enough when I toured with How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the musical, for 5 years. Our Grinch was the wonderfully talented Stefan Karl, and I was his understudy. He was known as Robbie Rotten from Lazy Town. And Stefan was, amazing physical comedian. And he was professionally trained in that area. And so really, I got the best kind of teaching you could get. I had real firsthand training from a master of the craft for 5 years. And he was able to take me aside and like, okay, I like what you're doing, but here's how to make it better. And so I would put a lot of that into my interpretation art, because I came straight from doing Grinch for 5 years to doing Terrifier. So that was very fresh in my mind. And I would even sometimes just call Stefan up just for ideas and inspiration. So you know, even though I wasn't trained in it professionally, I feel like I was trained in a different way, real world way. It's like I didn't learn from a book or a professor telling me, oh, you do this, this, this. I just learned it from doing and watching those that were better than me. And I always tell people, it's like, always go out and try to learn more and find people that are really good at the stuff you love doing and learn from them and take what you learn from them and adapt it in your own ways.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? It's so crazy that you mentioned Robbie Rotten, because growing up, you know, my sister loved Lazy Town. Yeah, and you know, I'm always rooting for the villain. So you know, Robbie Rotten was my
fantastic guy. Oh, but Stefan was amazing.
Yeah, like when you mentioned like his, you know, the skills and the movement, like now I'm seeing it. Like I can go back and picture Robbie Rotten, you know, doing his little thing. And, And now I can kind of even see, you know, he lives through you through art, you know, like that just connection there is just awesome. I never knew that. So I'm going to be looking at it differently now.
Yeah. You go back and look at some of his shtick from that show and you can definitely see a lot of that in art.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I recently just went back and because I kind of miss him, you know, those that don't know, he passed away in 2018 from cancer, and it's just that was rough. That hit me hard. But he's such a great source of inspiration. So I was like, just a few weeks ago, I decided, you know, I kind of missed him, and I was like, I want to just go back and look up some of his old footage just for inspiration. And it was just like I just sat there just laughing my head off. I'm like, God, I needed this. I need this. It's like just a refresher course.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So what was the because I remember seeing Art the Clown originally in All Hallows Eve.
Mm-hmm.
What was there anything like? Did you guys know what you guys had with Art the Clown to make Terrifier, or because like Art the Clown is now a household name? Like, I mean, you know, a lot of people say he's an upcoming horror icon, but honestly, Art is a horror icon. Like, he's already there in my book, and with a lot of horror fans and viewers, like I absolutely love art, and like I said,
you.
he's there in my opinion. But
Thank
like,
you.
how did you guys like know? Like, did you know at the time what art was? Like, he was a gold mine. Like, he was the next best thing.
Yeah, well, that's the weird thing because I wasn't the original art. That was Mike Gianelli who played him in All Hallows Eve, and
Right.
I loved his performance when I saw All Hallows Eve, and that's before I even knew about the audition for Terrifier. And I was like, oh my god, what a great character! I was like, that's a character I think I could do a lot with one day if I ever had a chance to play a character like that. And I was like, oh, never imagined I would, but yeah, it's just like All Hallows Eve had just, a very niche following because, that was a very, 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 very low budget independent film that was released. And so when we were doing Terrifier, we had that same expectation. It's like, okay, maybe the fans of All Hallows Eve will like this and maybe a few other people. But we were trying to be realistic with ourselves because we weren't a studio produced film. And we know how that goes, especially this day and age. Is like you usually have to have a big studio behind you to get your film out there. So we're like, maybe we'll luck out and get a distribution team or something like that. But I mean, we were even planning on just doing self-distribution at the time. So we didn't know who was going to see this film at all. So we're setting our expectations low. I mean, we thought we had something really cool though, but that's how everybody thinks about their project. So it's like, I was just trying to be realistic. I was like, yeah, this is really cool concept, but who knows who's going to see it since we don't have the backing of Hollywood.
Yeah.
So we're just like, we had no idea. We had no idea. We had a lot of faith in it, but we didn't have faith in the industry.
Yeah. So I have a question. So Art the Clown, he's very he's like a very blunt horror icon, if you get what I mean. He's out there. So I've actually met you before in Cincinnati, Ohio. So Nightmare, you were super cool, man, when I met you.
That was a fun convention.
Yeah, and I actually got, a photo op with you in costume. And I'm like, man, bro, like, this is really him. Like, it was crazy just seeing you walk and everyone's taking pictures and stuff. But I just want to know, does art leak out into like your everyday life? Do you catch yourself doing stuff that you do on set? Like you're like, oh wait, what? That's not for this right now,
Yeah.
What would art do type of thing? Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's I kind of have a darkness in me anyway. It just it goes for like years of abuse in school, so it's just like he's kind of that inner voice. It's like he gets to do all the stuff that I couldn't actually legally do in real life to people. But I think there is a lot of me in art too, just like the goofiness. So it's like the playful side. That's definitely me in general. That's what I brought my own personality to the character in that way. But yeah, I've had my moments though where I'm like, God, what would art do in this moment here? Oh man, I have those moments definitely. I'm like, yeah, art needs to go down there and take care of this problem right now. Send him to Congress.
Yeah, right.
So, do you
Art
feel
for president? That would be a cool picture. Art the Clown with the little red, white, and blue hat. That would be awesome.
Why vote for the lesser evil?
Yeah.
So do you feel that art has elevated, since Terrifier 1 going into 2? I know it was like when I saw you in the first one, it was like you owned it. You didn't need any. You was like, I know what I'm doing. But as we see the trailer, we get, some crazy scenes. You got the torch. And it's like, I want to know, like, do you feel like you've elevated the character, you've brought more to it since the first one?
I definitely feel that I'm a lot more confident with the character this time around because now I know exactly what the audience likes. Because that was my thing going into the first films. Like, I'm a big fanboy myself, so I know how I am when a new actor takes over a character, a beloved character, and how judgmental I am. So I was very, because I knew I was doing some things different from Mike Gianelli. I wanted to bring more of the comedic physicality to the character because he's a clown, and because the scariness is there, but let's bring a little bit more of the clowning aspect because I think that made the character more dynamic and charismatic and separates him from all those other silent characters out there. But I was like, well, who knows how people are going to respond to this? They might hate what I'm doing. They're like, oh God, he's being too silly or something like that. And I don't know. So that was in my head during the first film, but the second time I was like, okay, now I know they like this. I know what they want. And so yeah, and I kind of also look at it this way: as art in this film is more confident as well.
Yeah,
the dude came back from the dead. I mean, he shot his brains out, and he's able to come back. He's got a new purpose now. He's like, oh wow, I'm a lot stronger. So he's a little bit more confident, a little bit more arrogant, I would say this time. A little bit more daring.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, as you can see from the trailer, he's going around in daylight.
Yeah, I seen that. He's going around in daylight, man.
It's like just walking around, and it's just like, oh my god, it's like, yeah, because he's like, yeah, I'm hard to kill, motherfuckers.
yeah. So confident,
And you know what? It reminds me because, like, not knowing that Art the Clown was going to be as big as everybody thought. It just takes me back to later films like Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. They didn't know what they had, and it just blew up into something so good. And I mean, I've heard a lot of people say, Art the Clown is very similar to Michael Myers. You got that silent, you got the brutality of it. He's just like a better clown version of Michael Myers, in a sense. So
that's the thing is, first of all, that's something people forget. Every single one of those films, all those big, huge horror franchises, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, they all started as low-budget independent films.
Yeah.
It was just an idea someone had and didn't have a lot of money. They're like, go ahead, let's do it. And then it exploded. It's because the characters they created were so interesting to people. They were so... There was a certain charisma to it, especially Freddy. Oh, my God, the dude oozes charisma. And that's the thing I think with Art is like he's not just Mike Myers. There's bits of every single horror icon that came before him in his personality. He's got bits of Mike and Jason and Chucky and Freddy, Pinhead and Leatherface and Jigsaw. All those guys are inside of him.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like he's like the ultimate, mashup of horror icons. He's the love letter to the genre. I mean, that's why we made the first film. It was our love letter to slashers.
Yeah.
So many throwbacks and Easter eggs to all these other slashers in both of these films, especially Nightmare on Elm Street. There's so many Nightmare on Elm Street, homages, because that's Wes Craven is one of Damien's favorite directors of all time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So go ahead, Brandon.
I just wanted to know. So, okay, you've done Terrifier 1, you've done Terrifier 2. Which one you feel you had the most fun with? Like you felt like, it was exciting every day you came to set. It was like, oh, I can't wait to do this scene right here.
God. That's definitely Terrifier 2. Oh my God. I mean, because especially with this one, I was involved with the whole creation of it. Damien and I were constantly messaging each other ideas when he was writing the script. We were bouncing ideas off each other's head for kill scenes or other just fun scenes that are in this. And we have some just really fun scenes in this that it's not scenes that you usually see in a horror film. You're not used to seeing the villain doing these kind of things in the real world. Yeah. And that's what we wanted to put in those kind of fun scenes. And we also, because when he wrote Terrifier 1, he didn't know what type of actor I was because he didn't know me at the time when he wrote it. And I like to play around and experiment on set. Yeah. And so he saw that when we were filming part 1, like the pizzeria scene. He's like, oh, wow, I got to do a lot of that. So he specifically wrote scenes in part 2 where he just put the bare bones of like just what's supposed to happen during the scene, but he didn't write the specifics because it's like, we're just going to let you play here. So when we get to the location, we're going to let you play. Like you see in the new trailer where I'm putting on those sunglasses.
Yeah.
There was like a whole entire section of stuff there, and I was just playing, and they just filmed just playing with all these different things around me. And we probably have so much more footage that's not in the film from that scene that's actually in the scene, because it was just we're in a Halloween store. There's stuff all around me. I'm like, oh my God, this is my dream come true. And that's the stuff I love. But then also there's you see me using the flamethrower. I mean, hello.
Yeah.
That was probably one of my favorite days on set. I was just there's some other stuff I use in that same scene, and I was like, I can't believe I get paid to do this. This is amazing. I was like a kid in a candy store that day. And it's like I was the only one that got to touch that stuff too, because all the safety precautions and stuff like that. So they're like, look, we got to do another take. I'm like, oh darn. Whoosh. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun, but it was also, I mean, in addition to the fun, it was a lot of hard work. This one was a much more grueling production to do too, because I will say, especially the last third of the movie, we shot in this one location. It's an awesome location aesthetically, but we shot it in the winter, and it's an area that's not. It's very cold, and we didn't have really good heat there. And so I know I was miserable. I know Lauren LaVere, who plays Sienna, was even more miserable because she's wearing that little skimpy Valkyrie outfit and covered in blood and everything else. So she was freezing. And we were there for a few weeks filming. And that was in itself grueling, but we're doing so much fighting in this. Like, Art's a lot more physical in this one. And I did a lot of my own stunts. I sometimes, because I have horrible depth perception, as you see with my glasses, and I had a few stunt arms come in for me. I was like, I don't want to, like, when it's like a prosthetic that we only have one shot at getting, I didn't want to be the one to mess up the shot with my horrible depth perception. So I'm like, okay, someone's got better aim, please hit this for me. But yeah, I got to do all this fun fighting and stuff like that. That was a lot of fun. It's like we really upped the ante in so many ways with this film, which especially with stunt work. It's like it was awesome.
Yeah, that trailer. I mean, you just see, like I was telling Brandon, the other day, we were talking about the trailer and stuff like that. Like, there's a scene in there where Art has his bag and he's bloodied, and he just looks pissed, like something happened. I told Brandon, I go, this man is on a mission. He's got his trusty garbage bag, and you know what's crazy is that the final girl, I think, is going to be awesome, because even though the final girl in the first one did a good job. But like, I see at the end of that trailer, like, Art was kind of like, whoa, I got a challenge here and I'm going to enjoy this. Like, this is going to be fun. Yeah. So it's like, wow, like you could just see that Art means business, like, but he's still having fun with it. It's crazy.
Oh, that's the whole thing. It's like the first film is like one of Damien's like things that he wishes he could change is he wish he could have really fleshed out those characters more, especially Victoria. It's like, that's his one thing. It's like, I wish I could just really flesh out her character more. So with this one, Sienna is a character he's had in his mind since before he created Art. This is a character he's wanted to bring to life for over a decade. And so he really wanted to do some special stuff. Like, she's such an Ellen Ripley type of character. This whole movie it's not just Art's story, it's her story. It's the hero's journey that she goes on, and it's just fantastic. So like, when they do finally butt heads, oh my god, it's battle royale. It's crazy. And that's the thing. It's like Art's a powerful guy. He needs someone that's going to be able to actually be a threat to him.
Right.
So that's because you don't get that a lot in like horror films with slashers, especially where you get someone that actually can go toe to toe with a villain. It's like and it's pretty kick ass to see someone like Sienna. It's like, oh yeah, she's pretty kick ass herself, and it's like that you need. I always felt like Art needed the Batman to his Joker, and now we're setting that up.
Yeah, definitely. So because like part one really gave me so much nostalgia, especially like when you guys were in the pizza shop, right? And Art comes in there, like I told Brandon all the time, I remember being 21, going to the bars, afterwards the bars closes and you're like, where are we going to go eat? And you're drunk. Waffle House. So I love that scene so much because I remember, like, it's Halloween. Like, we used to always, Halloween's my time of year. And I remember being at those places drunk, and eating pizza and weird people coming in, in costumes, masks. And I was like, oh my, like I felt like I was there with them because I've experienced, like somebody where is a little off, like maybe we should not sit over there,
Yeah.
Like what was the most fun scene out of that? I know the tricycle scene. Like I don't know how you did that. Like I can't even ride a little toy bike if I wanted to. Like how was that possible?
Yeah, that bicycle, that was something else because we didn't even know if I was going to be able to actually ride that. It was written in the script, but we're like, okay, because we see this thing, it's so tiny. I'm 6'2", and I also have this big, huge clown shoes on, and I'm like, I don't care. This is going to be hilarious. I am determined to ride this thing come hell or high water. I am going to figure this out. And so and it worked. It just worked. I was like, I got on it, and once I got traction, that was the thing, because that floor in there was very slick, so it was kind of hard to get the traction. But once I got traction, I could start going, and I was having fun. I was just riding all over the place. But I was constantly falling down, too. So, like, the crash you see in the movie where I run into the stairs and fall over, that was real. That's just something they kept because I thought that was a nice way to humanize the character more. It's like, oh, yeah, he's not perfect. He fucks up, too, which is great. It's kind of funny to see the villain mess up, and it makes him more relatable to the audience, I think. So, but that was a night of pure hilarity. I think we were on maybe night 3 or 4 straight of filming, and so we were all delirious as it was, and that just made it even funnier. Like Samantha, who plays Victoria, wasn't really even in the scene, but she stayed on set the whole entire night because she just wanted to be there to witness all of that. And she videotaped a lot of that. There's like a footage of me going around where I'm singing Bicycle Race as Herbert the Pervert from Family Guy. It's like, I was having way too much fun that night. And that's the stuff I love, is when I get to have those kind of scenes where it's like, yeah, I mean, the kill scenes are fun too, but I like doing those kind of scenes too, where it's just like, yeah, art's just being art. He performs for himself. That's what I like about him. So he's all of it. It's like he always thinks there's a camera on him, or there's an audience, even though when there's not an audience or something like that. He's just always on, and it's kind of fun to do that with him.
So, you
go ahead. No, you go. I was just gonna say. Go ahead.
I have a question I'm dying to ask, because, like I said, I met you in Cincinnati, and I actually met you twice. I met you in Cincinnati and in Indiana.
So both Days of the Dead and for Horror Hound.
Yeah, and I remember at the Cincinnati panel, you and Damien were talking, and I want to say someone asked the question, like, would you guys top that hacksaw kill in Terrifier 2? And you and Damien got like very excited, and you're like, yeah, you guys have to look out for it. I can't say, but it's like, so do you feel that you guys topped it in Terrifier 2?
I think so. Because we've shown that scene to some people. Because like Damien likes to get feedback just to know how things are landing and stuff like that. So we've shown that to some people in the industry, and also some real horror fans that we know out there. So and also just like non-horror fans, to see how people reacted to it. And the feedback we have gotten from that scene has just been fantastic. One of my favorites was Heather Riker, who does a lot of conventions. She does a lot of the Q&A at a lot of conventions. So she's a huge horror fan. So we showed her that when we were in Orlando last year. And she started crying halfway through the scene.
Wow.
Tears of joy. She was so happy. It was just like, it's like, oh, and she even went home and immediately wrote a whole Facebook post about watching this scene. He was just like, I can't tell you what happens in this scene, but oh my God. It's brutal. It's basically 5-6 minutes of me just slaughtering my victim, and it's
oh my God,
it's very over the top. This is why we don't have an MPAA rating, because of this scene, I would say. I mean, we have some other scenes too, but this definitely would give us an NC-17 rating, I would think, because of the brutality of this scene. It's and the way he edits it too. It gives you those moments to breathe. Then you can hit him again with oh God, oh God, oh God. Oh, I hope this is going to be one of these scenes that people talk about for years to come. My hope is going to revolutionize this genre. It's going to inspire people to take risks like we did, because we took a big risk with this movie in general, but especially this scene. It was just because it's pretty graphic and gory.
Yeah, that hacksaw scene is brutal.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Oh, just wait. You might see a taste of it. Just that's a little nosh of it in the trailer, and it's you just see the beginning of it, and you're like, oh, just wait.
oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm not even. I'm
I'm gonna have to rewatch the trailer and like break
Yes.
that like frame
Mhm.
by frame because we were just talking and we're like, how can they top that first scene? Because that first
Yeah.
scene in part one was crazy. I mean, I remember first time watching, I was like,
yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah.
And then after what you're telling us now, like I'm happy, I'm excited because it's like
Mhm.
where and that's where I talk about horror. We've talked about it in past streams. Is pushing the boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Pushing and making things uncomfortable but good uncomfortable. Like just breaking the barriers. Like it sounds kind of funny, but that Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey movie that's going to be coming out, like I was so happy when I'm like, oh my god, we're actually pushing boundaries. We're taking a beloved kids character and we're making a story, which actually makes sense. Christopher Robin goes to college and
Yeah.
so it's like I love the fact that that's horror, right? Taking risks,
Mhm.
and I'm so glad we're doing that now because for
Oh,
a while
me too.
horror was kind of tame.
It's basically stagnated for like the past 20 years or so. Everything's gotten more into like this highbrow type stuff or like paranormal stuff, and it's just like the slashers have just kind of. Yeah, I mean, you've had people try to make really good slashers, and there have been a few good ones that have been made. I'm like one that came out recently. My buddy Damon Maffei's in is Haunt.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it. I was like, that seems like something could really happen, and that's what I liked about that movie. It's like you could see because I mean that looked like that Haunt looked like any haunted house that you could go to in any town anywhere. So this is something that could happen. It's like, oh, and it was a good slasher. The kills were good. It was very entertaining. I was like, love it. So, and it's just like I want to see more of that. I want people having fun, more fun with the genre again. Willing to take those risks because that's especially comedy and horror are the two genres that you're supposed to push the boundaries and supposed to take risk and so those seem like the two genres in the past 20 years have been neutered, especially comedies. It's just like especially with a lot of the PC culture out there, and I'm like I'm pretty much as liberal as they come, but even I'm like, guys, you're censoring too much now where like everything's just going to become boring. And I think that's why Terrifier resonated with people. It's because it did scratch that itch that we've all had for a while. It's like, oh my god, they're actually showing a kill again. It's not happening off screen or just a quick stab and cut away to the aftermath or something like that. It's like, oh, we're actually showing it.
Right.
We're doing Sam Raimi level stuff. And
Yeah, and that's why, and I think that's why, honestly, me, as a Terrifier Art the Clown fan, I think that's why I love him so much because I see the risks, I see the pushing of the boundaries. Art does something that no other, slasher, we can say that's done. Like Art does some crazy things. Art doesn't care. He's free. He's wild. It's like I love it, and it's like you're bringing. It's almost like Art's bringing us back to the roots of horror, bringing us back to like the 80s and things like, with the slashers and stuff. And I actually have a question for you because one of our guys, Jay the Ripper, he's usually on the live stream with us. And Monday we actually had an Art versus Pennywise live stream. And yesterday on our Brandon stream, we actually did a Tim Curry Pennywise and a Bill Skarsgård Pennywise. So I guess
that's
it's
a good
questions. So
yeah.
My question would be, who do you think will win, Pennywise or Art the Clown? And which Pennywise do you prefer, the Tim Curry or the Bill Skarsgård Pennywise?
Excellent questions. I'll answer the second question first. Gosh, it's really kind of hard to compare those two because they did really different things character-wise with them. But I got to go with Tim Curry because it's Tim Curry. But Bill comes in so close to Tim Curry, though. Tim just had some kind of charisma. That's the thing. It's Tim Curry. He just oozes charm and charisma, so you can't help but not love him. But like Bill, I have to give it, a very small tip of the hat to him, or a tiny, yeah, that makes sense. But it's like he had literal big shoes to fill there, because everybody's going to compare him to Tim Curry, and he did his own thing with the character. In a lot of ways, he was more true to the character in the book than Tim Curry was to the character in the book.
Right.
And he took a lot of risks, and he had amazing character choices. Just the things he could do with his eyeballs. That's not CG there. That's him actually moving his eyes and all kinds. I was like, God, I wish I could do that. I had eye operation when I was 4 years old, so I can't do that kind of stuff. I'm like, I can't even cross my eyes. It annoys me. But it's just like I love both of their performances. But yeah, it's got to go to Tim. But like I said, Bill comes in very close right next to him, because he gave such a great performance. And it's like, you got to hand it to the guy. It's like that was a challenge. Now, as for who would win in a fight between Art and Pennywise, well, I have to say Art, and here's why. Art doesn't really fear anything. And that's where Pennywise always has the advantage. He's a master of fear. And if you're not afraid of something, he has no power over you. That's why the kids were able to turn it back on him. It's like, we're not afraid of you. We're just going to start making fun of you. You have no power over us. Now we have the power over you.
Right.
And that's right there. All Art has to do is just start pointing and laughing at him.
Like how he usually does. Yeah.
Just go, we're making fun of me.
Yeah.
Pennywise is a snowflake.
I am so glad because everything you just said was my debate on Monday's stream, was it not, Brandon? When we talked about fear and Art the Clown. I am so glad I have David Howard Thornton on my side in that battle. Because
I thought it out. because I love the character. I mean, I read the book a few years ago.
Yeah, because we decided, because it was actually a 50-50 tie in the polls when we did a poll for the channel. And, I was guns, and those were my two killing points for Pennywise, was that, Art's not afraid of nothing. He'll just, he'll like the challenge of, having to take you out. And so we agreed that, after Terrifier 2 comes out, we'll watch Terrifier, because there's still a lot of things we don't know about Art, like as far as the paranormal and things like that. Even more of what he's capable of now that we know, you guys are going to top that hacksaw scene. So we're going to revisit it maybe a week or two after Terrifier 2 releases, and then kind of go back into the battle. But I'm so glad you brought it, because the minute you started saying that, I'm like, yes. Somebody, David Howard Thornton, Art the Clown, agrees with me in that aspect. But he definitely wanted to know, because he's like, can you ask him if Bill or Tim Curry or whatever? And that was just an awesome answer. So I'm not gonna live that down. I swear. We're gonna put it up next Scary at Night. So now, if I'm not mistaken, I know you posted. It was another movie you'll be in, correct? And you're actually going to be playing the villain. And I know you were excited about, because now you get to speak in the role, right? Like, we get to see David Howard Thornton.
Yes. I have several movies that are already done, are almost done, and one I'm going to be filming. The one I think you're talking about is called The Dead Place. I just got cast in. And I do get to speak in this one finally. So I'm like, yay. I have lines. That means I have to memorize something now. Yeah. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to be filming that early next year. And it's a fun concept. Like, my character's a fun character. So I was like, this will be fun. He's a very sarcastic, asshole type bad guy. So I'm like, that's going to be fun. But there's another film called Stream that I have been working on with a lot of the Terrifier 2 team, and I play one of the villains in that as well, and that's going to be coming out, I think, next year, and we're almost finished with that. And we have an amazing cast with that one. It's such a who's who of horror alumni in this movie. It's like we have everybody from like Felissa Rose, Dave Sheridan, Danielle Harris, Dee Wallace, Jeffrey Combs, Tony Todd, Terry Alexander, Daniel Roebuck. There's some other people I can't mention yet because we just got them involved, and I'm just like, holy shit, who do we not have in this movie?
That's crazy right there.
And so, God, just filming this movie was a lot of fun because we filmed a lot of it last year during the height of COVID. So we basically quarantined ourselves in this hotel in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And we're there, you know, the crew, I was there for a few weeks, but like the crew was there for about a month and a half filming. And it's like, you're just walking down the hall and it's like, oh my God, that's such and such and so and so. We're all just doing this movie together. And it's like, even the days I wasn't filming, I was like, I knew, like, you know, Jeffrey was doing a scene that day. And I'm like, because I think he's such an amazing character actor. I'm like, is there any way I can just come in and watch? And, you know, of course, Mike Levy, who's directing, he's like, oh, yeah, let me ask Jeff just to make sure it's okay. Because, you know, different actors have their process. Some people just don't want other people on set. He's like, oh, yeah, sure, let him come in. And that was like being able to watch him work and watch Dee Wallace work and all that. I was just like, oh, my God, it's such a master's class right there in acting, too. It's just like seeing them do their thing. But also, it's like, it was also, it sounds kind of bad to say it, but at the same time, it's a very humanizing thing. And it was a good uplift for me. It's like, oh, yeah, everybody makes mistakes. So being able to see these great, fantastic actors just sit there and like, shit, what's my line again? Something like that. It's like, I love that. It's like, okay, good. That makes me feel better about myself when I mess up or something like that. So I'm like, oh, good. It happens even to the best of the best.
Right.
That was a lot of fun. But oh my gosh, being able to work with all these fantastic actors I grew up idolizing and watching in movies my whole entire life was like, I was like a kid in a candy store on that set. I was like, this is amazing. So I got that. And I also have a Christmas horror film. Since you mentioned the Winnie the Pooh thing, this is based on a very popular Christmas story, and they've put their own twist on it and made it a horror film. And can't exactly say who I'm playing in it, but it's going to make your heart grow 3 sizes. So that's, yeah.
Oh man.
It's a fun twist on the story. It's pure camp. We know exactly what we are. And we had a lot of fun with it. And I filmed that earlier this year in LA. A lot of makeup.
Oh man.
Wow.
So yeah, so they're going to be making an official announcement about that sometime in the next few weeks, I believe. So releasing a trailer and all that kind of stuff too. So hopefully that's going to be coming out around Christmas this year. So knock on wood on that one too. So
yeah,
so
wow.
It's a lot of fun stuff. I just like it's kind of cool getting to play all these fun villains. So
Yeah, because that's one thing. When I saw that, I'm like, I can't wait, because we see what you do with Art the Clown, you know, and it's amazing through and through. No matter how many times I watch it, I always find something new or different that I didn't catch. And, you know, to see you do these other roles and speak and, you know, just put your acting to the test is just going to be awesome. Like, if you scare me as Art the Clown, you're going to scare me when you're actually talking and, you know, doing lines. And it's like, what else can David Howard Thornton do to bring these maniacs to life, you know, like...
Because I'm excited to see what else I can do. It's just like I'm always discovering new things about myself too, because I'm always looking for new inspiration too. It's like recently I watched The Black Phone with Ethan Hawke, and I was like, I loved his character in that. I was like, because that was like something I've never seen him do, and I'm just sitting there watching what he's doing. I'm getting ideas for myself, like some things I could put into this new character I'm going to be doing for Dead Play. So I'm like, oh my God, you're giving me some ideas. Okay, great. So it's just like I'm always looking for inspiration. It's like I always like to say, everybody I work with on set or on stage, I'm always taking little bits and pieces from what they do and putting it in my mental Rolodex of ideas, because I think you can always learn something new from everybody that you come in contact with.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Ethan Hawke killed that role. He was a beast. And, you know, I remember when they did like a promo, he's like, you know what? You know, I've never done villain roles before because, you know, my career, I didn't want it to hurt it. He's like, but I'm getting into that age where I'm about done. He's like, so why not? Let's go all out and go with a bang. And when I seen his performance, I'm like, man, I would love to see Ethan Hawke play more villainous roles. Come back as the grabber. And, you know, right after that, Joe Hill went to the director and said, hey, let's do a prequel or, you know, a part 2. And, you know, I'm like, I want to see more of that. Like, because we less is more. So it was very powerful in that movie.
Yeah,
but it
I
made
wanted to see more of him. That's the thing. It's
right.
like,
Yeah, I wanted more, and it's like just like it was just a tease, you know.
Yeah.
And Ethan Hawke, I mean, to see just maybe how he started or why or whatever. Oh, that would be so amazing. He was amazing.
and that's what made me excited too. It's like, oh, I hope this is going to be a new iconic character too, because I'm like, we need new characters now.
Mhm.
And I was so happy to see this character. So I'm like, I love this character. I want to see more of this character. Let's please bring him out. It's like, because I've seen other characters that there's potential behind him, like Doug Jones is the Bye Bye Man. I'm like, oh my God, that had so much potential in it. It's like, because that's such a cool concept for a character. It's a shame that movie didn't latch on.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man.
So, okay, with Art and you becoming Art the Clown, is it something you have to pull out your back pocket and kind of work your way into the character, or it's like a light switch, like I'm Art that fast, or is it something
It's a light switch thing. That's just how I've always been as an actor. It's just because it comes from my stage acting days, where sometimes I would play multiple characters in the show, and I had to be able to switch characters like that.
Yeah.
And so my thing is, once I understand basically the voice of the character, then I can just turn it on, turn them off. I might need like a few seconds just to get into the emotional state of the character in that scene, but other than that, I can switch them on, switch them off. So that's got to probably be a little bit weird to my co-stars.
Yeah.
I'm talking to them normally, joking around and stuff like that. And they're like, okay, place is rolling. And then I just switch into Art and the angry face comes out. I think a few of them have commented in the past, like, it's very weird. All of a sudden he just becomes Art, just like that.
Yeah.
And then they say cut. And I'm like, oh my God, are you okay?
Yeah.
I didn't hurt you, did I?
Yeah.
So, with the Terrifier 2 coming out, the vibes I'm getting in the trailer, it's like, like a final girl and like a villain type vibe. So I want to know, could we follow you and Lauren in the next, me and Terrifier 2 as like a Laurie and a Michael type of thing? Or is it like, it's not even in that category, or is it like similar?
There's definitely, that kind of dynamic between Sienna and Art, as there is between like Nancy and Freddie and Laurie and Mike. Stuff like that's definitely what we're going for there. Is that true, or like Sidney Prescott in every ghost face.
Yeah.
So it's good to have that, the yin and yang, and especially with Sienna and Art, they really are yin and yang.
Yeah.
But you have the balance there that's needed, and I think that's fun to explore, that dynamic between the two of them.
Yeah, definitely, man. I can't wait, man. I cannot wait. The trailer, it just like so another question. I spotted something that said Art Christie's.
Oh yeah.
Man. So I just want to, is these, the cereal, is it going to be as it's just a movie?
Can we buy this?
I know. Wouldn't that be an awesome cereal? Or like if we were joking about that on set, was like, oh my God, imagine if they did this. Like, what I think someone on the crew was like, it would be great if like it turned like, it was like strawberry flavored cereal and it turned the milk like pink or red or something like that too. It's like, that would be a great thing to do. But I mean, this is just a thing that we have in the movie, this one little part and stuff like that. I love seeing the whole speculation around that part of the trailer too. So it's like, but we knew as soon as we made that, we're like, oh, people are gonna latch onto this. So who knows? Who knows? You never know. I would love it. That would be amazing. I don't know if they would allow that in stores and stuff like that, but that could be something that could be sold at conventions and stuff like that for sure.
Yeah,
that's definitely possible. FYE is usually good at making. I mean, they have bootios from those wrestlers, and it's funny because we were talking about the cereal earlier, and it got me thinking, because how cool would it be, right, if we had the Art the Clown cereal? But like, let's say if you guys want to do a TV show where it was kind of like Mr. Bean, like you brought up, where it was just like the old school silent types, where you just see Art like back when you had the little sign that said Art has a problem, and then like and it's like, oh, I would love that, just like little shorts of Art on his.
I would love that too, because we have so many ideas that we haven't been able to put in movies. And it's just like, who knows? Maybe we could do little shorts or something like that one day in the future. It's like one-offs or something like that. Because there's so much. That's what I love about this character. There's so much potential.
Yeah.
To do things. It's just like that's what I like. It's just like we could do so many things. Especially, I like to see Art interacting with the real world.
Yeah.
He's not just confined to one location, like at a summer camp or something like that. I like to see him just going out and about and just doing everyday things, but as a villain. And it's just it's that's what I think is really cool to see, is him doing things that, oh wow, he's out trick-or-treating or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just like we do some of that kind of stuff in part 2 especially, and that's I think people are going to dig it as much as I dig it, because I'm like, oh, it adds more personality to him. I think it's like, oh wow, he's more relatable to an audience that way.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I can see Art the Clown even scaring the Joker. Honestly,
oh, yeah.
You played
this guy's fucked up.
Yeah,
this guy, I'm not messing with him. He's crazy.
Yeah. Now you also played the Joker as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how? Okay, so that alone is crazy. Joker and Art the Clown. Like how?
I was actually cast as them on the same week too.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So that was like an awesome week for me.
Yeah. Wow. Like how did you handle that? Like, because they're totally two different characters.
Oh yeah.
Similar in some ways.
Yeah.
But oh my God, to me that would be big, because you got Joker, you got Art.
Yeah.
So how did you tackle that? Like, how did you prepare, or how did you plan that out?
Well, especially Joker. I mean, I've been like practicing that character for years, decades. He's my favorite villain of all time. It's like I have been researching and just experimenting with him forever, and I've learned a lot of his monologues from The Killing Joke, because I like him. It's just like that there's so many ways you can go with that character. He's such a dynamic character in him. So yeah, I like to experiment with him a lot. So I want to return to the character one day, because I've grown with him even since I filmed all that stuff for Nightwing like 6 or 7 years ago. So I'm like, oh, I would love to. That's a dream of mine, is to actually bring him to life and do a true comic accurate depiction of him, as opposed to what Hollywood keeps doing with him. Just stay true to the comic, stay true with the look, stay true with the mannerisms, the way he speaks, all of that. Stay true to the grandiose monologuing, because one of my things is like Hollywood tries to just make him creepy. And like, no, Joker doesn't try to really be creepy unless it's part of the joke. Like when he cut off his face and reattached it, that was part of the joke, part of the plan.
Yeah.
But it's just like he's not intentionally trying to, oh, look how creepy I am. No, he doesn't want to be creepy. He's a showman. Yeah, and that's why he's all about the monologues, and he's all about the presentation. He likes to put on a good show for everybody. And let's put a smile on those faces, and there. So it's like I would love to bring him to life, especially on a TV series. That way, I could have a lot more time to really be with the character and flesh him out the ways I want to flesh him out. Because there's so much more to him than what you're able to put into a Hollywood film. Yeah.
Like there was back when it was called Batman and the Phantasm, or Attack of the Phantom, or something.
Yeah, Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah, Mask of the Phantasm. Yeah, and I remember in that scene, and that's one way I started loving Joker was that he's like a ticking time bomb. You don't know if it's a joke, you don't know if he's serious. And I remember that one scene where someone grabs him and he's like, get your hands off me, like just mad. And then I don't know where you've been. It's like, whoa, like you don't know whether you're joking or
he can turn on a dime, and that's what I love about him. And even Art's like that too. He has that, like he's joking around 1 second, and all of a sudden, boom, just oh shit.
Yeah. And I actually, now that you bring that, like, okay, so with Terrifier 1, and this is something I've been speculating, I've been thinking to myself, that scene in the first one, where the the crazy lady in the apartment building, and her that's my baby, please don't hurt, and Art was kind of like sitting there with the baby, and then like kind of leans into her. So if you can explain that, because I'm looking and it's like, was that Art just screwing with her, or do you think Art had just a little bit of humanity at that time, especially when she was talking about like a mother's love and touch, and then Art just goes crazy on her? But like, was that something like, or am I just looking too much into it? Like he was just screwing with her.
Well, that's actually something Damien and I talked a lot about when we did the scene and everything like that. It's like, what's going on here? And because the one thing Damien really doesn't want people to do is to feel sorry for the character. He doesn't want Art to be sympathetic. He doesn't want him to have one of those kind of backgrounds. Oh no, he was abused. Oh, that's why he's bad and blah blah blah. He doesn't want anybody to ever feel sorry for the guy. He is pure, unadulterated evil. And so like okay, so she does not reach him. That's not her like appealing to some part of his brain. No, that's him really fucking with her because he's the type of guy that understands people's weaknesses. And he knew that about her characters. Like I even like to think they might have a past with each other. Because I mean, she knew all about him when she first saw him. Like, oh my god, he he does this because he thinks it's funny, and he's like she understands him already for some reason. But but he recognized that aspect of her personality that she's very motherly, and that's the easiest way he can both mess with her mentally, but also bring her in for the kill. Yeah, and lure her in because he already knew that she was wary of him, was wanting to stay away from him. So like, okay, well, let's make this more fun. Let's really mess with her. Let's make her think she's gotten through to me. And then, boom, skin her alive.
Yeah.
So I have to ask this question, man. It's killing me. So in Terrifier 1, we get the scene with Art. He has the wig on. He has the skin on. So I want to know, like, how did you build up that confidence to do that? You know, how did like, that is so crazy. And it was like, oh my gosh, mind blowing.
Yeah, I definitely had to build up the confidence for that because I have always been very, very shy about my physique because I was made fun of for years being so skinny and stuff like that. I was the type of guy I hated taking my shirt off at the pool. Yeah, because I was like, oh god, like when I was a camp counselor one year, like I took off my shirt and was getting ready to get in the pool, and the kids all because I was so pale and skinny, like, oh god, no. And I think other counselors set them up to do that. I was like, you jerks, none of you get to swim now. I'm in the pool now. This is my swim time. You all get to see me swim. Ha ha ha. You're not laughing now, are you? Yeah. But yeah, so that was something that wasn't even originally written in the script that way. It was originally written where he just wore the body parts over his costume. Yeah. And it's most people don't realize it's not just the scalp and the boobs. He's also wearing her vajayjay. Which is whoa. Whoa.
Which is ooh.
I died at that part.
Yeah, it's like about 2 days before we filmed, and we're in the car driving from set or to set or something like that. And Damien's like, I have an idea that you're probably going to hate, but hear me through because I think it's going to be freaky and it's going to up the ante on this scene. I'm like, okay, what? He's like, why don't you do it naked? I'm like, oh no. Oh, who wants to see my skinny ass naked? Oh God, haven't they suffered enough? But then I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that would be freaky. That whole concept that he's wearing his victim's body parts on his own flesh, like fresh body parts. Yeah, it's not like Buffalo Bill who like made a skin suit out of someone and it had time to dry and turn into leather, basically. Oh, no. This is straight off a human being, black blood everywhere. Just blah. And so I was like, oh, God, that would be freaky. And also I was like, Catherine, who played Dawn, like we had not filmed her part of the scene yet, but we're like, she's having to really expose herself in such a very vulnerable state. For this scene, and she's willing to do it because she knows what that's going to do for that scene. If she can do that, I can do this. So let's do it. Yeah, so that was a very interesting night. I felt very sorry for our crew having to look at my naked butt the whole entire time. And that was Samantha's real first night working with me on set. So that was her real introduction to me. I come out and I'm like, "Hi, I'm David, and these are my boobs. I have a degree in teaching, and I'm wearing boobs now." They are never letting me back in the classroom. It was like I was making jokes all night, just try to keep things light and fun. But we also had a funny story with that too. That day, like Damien calls me up that morning. He's like, "Dave, bring a cock sock with you to cover yourself up." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Just bring a tube sock with you to hide your junk." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I didn't think.
All right.
So I show up. I because no one saw me getting ready. Of course, I was by myself. I had to glue the prosthetic to me and everything. And I come out, and unfortunately, it didn't quite cover everything up. And so they just see this bright white tube sock just bing, right there. And they're like, "Oh, no. Oh, no, Dave. Why did you bring a bright white tube sock? You said bring a tube sock. So I brought a tube sock." It's like, "Not a white one. You should have brought a black one." I'm like, "Well, first off, you're racist."
Hey, man.
Oh my god.
So that was funny. So that's one of the few areas in the film where they actually used some CG because they had to digitally remove the white tube sock that was showing. So that's why it's a little bit blurry down there. Thank God. It's not. They were trying to censor the cooch out. They were trying to censor my twigs of berries out for him.
Oh.
The bright white was,
Oh man, I'm gonna have a different view on that scene now. I'm just gonna think tube sock. Like
Oh yeah, that was that's an ongoing joke with like, "Oh, me and tube socks now." It's just like, oh god. there might be something similar in part 2 as well in one bit. So it's just like stupid tube socks.
Yeah, can you imagine going to Walmart or something and just like doon like you again, you know, like, oh Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gotten me more dates though, so
yeah, there you go.
Oh man. I've actually heard something. I don't know if it's true. It's about the diner scene with, you know, when Art goes in the bathroom and it's that mess in there, you know. Did it actually,
the shirt work?
Yeah. Did it actually smell in there?
No. That was what we used for that was just pudding and pizza dough.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was.
So it smelled good. It was like, oh, this smells like chocolate. This is delicious.
So yeah, that was the story. It was that they used pudding and pizza dough.
Because we're in a pizzeria, so we're like, well, what can we use for consistency of poop so it just doesn't look like diarrhea? It's like, let's put some pizza dough in here to add chunks to it. We did the same thing with the hand when I cut the hand when he's reaching for the phone.
Yeah.
We put like the blood in there, but we also put pizza crust in there to look like bone. Because we're like, well, we don't have bone, but we gotta have something that looks like bone. So we just use a bunch of pizza crust.
Yeah.
It's like you use what's around you.
Yeah, that's what it was. They used pizza crust for the diner for the shit on the wall.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I knew it was something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loves his shirt work.
Yeah. So how cool is it that Halloween 2018 actually stole a kill from you guys?
I know.
The jack-o'-lantern head. And I was like, when I seen that, I'm like, I've seen that before. Where's that from? And I'm like, Art the Clown did that. So hey, props. Love Michael. Love you, Michael. But Art the Clown's probably like, I did that. Like, what the hell's going on here?
They also had the head stomp too. I mean, you see a lot of head stomps in movies.
Yeah.
It was just funny. The head stomp and the jack-o'-lantern are so close to each other in the film too. It's like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You know, I take it as, you know, it's imitation is a sincerest form of flattery in that way. And it's like we've gotten a lot of ideas from Halloween. Yeah. So it's only fair. So I'm like, hey, you know, if Michael Myers is going to rip me off, that's okay. And I I am okay with that. So hey, go ahead, Mike. But you can go back to staring at your reflection in the window.
There we go. I'm glad you brought that up. So I have to do this to Brandon because Brandon, if you couldn't tell from his background, is the world's biggest Michael Myers fan. Okay,
Yeah.
he loves Michael. I love Michael too, but not as much as Michael. I love Pumpkinhead more than I love
I
Michael
can tell.
Myers. So
that's an amazing figure back there too.
it really is. It's from Sideshow PCS, and
Of course it is. They do amazing work.
Yeah, beautiful work. I'm waiting for them to do Art the Clown one. Honestly,
Yes,
Yeah,
I would be
definitely.
amazed.
I can see that. If they do Pennywise, you could do Art the Clown, definitely.
Yeah.
I still got to get the figure. That bloody figure is just amazing.
Oh, so good. It's so good.
So this is a fun question, just so we can have some fun here. What do you think Art the Clown can take on Michael Myers? Do you think what do you think will happen if them two were to ever, let's say Art the Clown's just walking with his bag one day, ends up in Haddonfield, and like turns and just sees Michael like. How do you think that would? What do you think will happen? Just a fun speculation.
Oh God, he would totally be like, "What's up, dude?" It'd just be a silence off. They'd just be kind of like, but he would
arguing
totally
with each other silently.
Oh yeah, but he would totally be just joking around with him. He would just totally be taunting him for sure.
I could just see like Michael grabbing Art and like kind of throwing him, and Art gets up and he's like just, why did you throw? And he pulls out the gun.
Yeah.
Hey,
But he could take the bullets. I mean, he took 6.
I was actually at a convention. I wanted to get it so bad. It was a picture of Art, and he has the freaking syringe.
Yes.
I'm like, that is so cool, because that's why I love Art the Clown, because some people probably won't agree, but I see so much of like similarities with Art and Michael. They're both mute, but I'm not gonna lie, Art, he kind of turned up the notch. He's starting to pull out pistols, and he's just I seen in the Terrifier 2 trailer, he's actually whacking someone with the chain. Like he's like, whoop.
Yeah, like a Passion of the Christ whip.
Yeah,
I saw all the chains. I was like,
It's the flail again. His the cat of nine tails, where he's got all the blades on it.
Yeah,
that's the same weapon. There's like I like to think that's his signature weapon.
Yeah, that is.
I mean, he uses so many, but I really think of that as his signature weapon, because that's such an iconic piece. Because what's really cool too, we addressed this in the comic book. It's like each cord on there is made of human hair from his victims that he ties the blades to. So that's pretty messed up when you think of that. So that's I think it just makes it very unique to him. But that would definitely be a fun thing. But speaking of that photo, that reminded me of what happened at that same convention there in Cincinnati, because Dick Warlock was sitting next to me.
Yeah.
And I had signed that piece of artwork for one of my fans, and the fan goes over to him, and all of a sudden I just hear this, "David, what the hell is this?" And Dick and I had such a fun moment right there with all the fans and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, it's time for you to retire, old man. Go back to your house. Go back to staring out your window. Man. It's time for new blood. You're done, man. You're done. And everybody's like, "Oh, shots fired." Because Dick's awesome. He's awesome because I was floored because like when we got there, he was like, "Oh, David, because I never met him before, but he as soon as he got there, he's like, "David, I am so glad I'm next to you. I've been wanting to meet you for the longest time. I love Terrifier." It's like, "Thank you." He's like, "Thank you for like bringing new life into the genre and everything." I'm like, "Dude, dude, this is coming from Dick Warlock." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? This is amazing. I love you, man."
Yeah.
It's like Halloween 2. That's one of my favorite horror sequels. I was just like,
man.
It's God, the tension in that is so. Oh God, like that. One of my favorite parts is with when she's hiding in the car, and she keeps looking to see if he's coming out of the doors of the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's just because that's the thing. It's like you're just dreading him walking out those doors. Is that they just build that tension up so that the cat and mouse game in Halloween 2 is so well done, and that's what we were trying to do with Terrifier. there's that cat and mouse game. It's like the person just being locked in a building with this guy and trying to escape him the whole entire time. That was our homage right there. And so, like, to get that kind of compliment from Dick Warlock, the guy that did the cat and the mouse game, I was just like, oh, thank you.
So how do you feel? How do you feel with the new Halloween movies? You know, we have 2018, we have Kills, and then with Ends coming out. How do you feel the story? Do you like the storyline that they're doing, like these trilogies? Like, I don't know if you've kind of paid attention to like some of the stuff they're saying about Ends and things like that. Like, what is your opinion on like what we're getting right now with the Myers side of the family?
I'm one of those. I preferred the storyline with the brother sister dynamic. I thought that just made both the characters more interesting. Now it just seems like, okay, Laurie's just a past victim. That's it. He's nobody to Mike Myers. And I know some people like that. It's like, oh, you're just nobody. But I was like, I think that just made their dynamic more interesting in that way. It's like, but you know, it is what it is. It's like I wasn't as thrilled with Halloween Kills. I think they did some things that like were questionable, especially with like the Danny DeVito type character running around that everybody mistook for Mike Myers when he had just been on TV, and this is a town where everybody knows what Mike Myers looks like for 40 freaking years, and then mistake Danny DeVito, the Wish version of Danny DeVito over here for Mike Myers. I'm like, that's like, what were they thinking, right? They should have just cast another big, huge guy.
Yeah,
that was, I was just like, this, that took me out of the moment there.
Yeah,
it's like, ah, man, but I love James in the role though. He like the whole scene where he's just robotically just stabbing the knives into the husband. I was like, oh, I liked that. I was like, oh, that's cool. That was cool. So it's like, there were moments I liked, but a lot of things I was like, it just compared to what's come before, it just, especially Laurie, I just felt Laurie wasn't really used in that one. It was just like, if you're bringing Laurie Strode into it, then you don't just keep her confined to a hospital bed the whole entire time. Yeah. It's like I felt like they did the same thing to Sidney and Prescott and Gale in the past Scream movie. I'm like, if you're gonna bring them back, utilize them. It's like it's just like, I want them. It's like, I don't care about the new characters. I want them. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of crazy about with the new Scream, that, you know, Neve Campbell's not going to be in that one. Like, what do you think about that? Because I think that's kind of like, it's a big risk they're taking when not having her come back to the franchise. I mean, that's what the fans go is for her.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like I love that character so much, because Scream has always been about, everything's been centered around Sidney Prescott. She is the core character of that franchise. Every single Ghostface has come about because of something to do with her or her family. She is key to it all. So it's like, I felt like the past one was like, she wasn't even really necessary for it, and it didn't feel the same. Yeah, it's like, I mean, she's in it, but it was like she really had no bearing on the plot whatsoever when you think about it. And I was like, so I can understand with, you know, her deciding not to come back for the next one. I was like, yeah, you know, that's her character, and I kind of feel that she wasn't done justice in the past one. You know, because I love Sidney Prescott. I love the Scream movies so much. You know? I was a little bit disappointed in the last one, because like, if you're gonna bring her back and have her do things. Yeah,
definitely.
Build her.
So we do have a. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said just build her character more, and it's like, yeah.
Definitely. So we do have a super chat. We have Two Boys and Their Pops has a question. Supernatural works for art. Could it work for Myers? Thank you for the super chat, by the way, Two Boys and Their Pops.
Yeah. I think it could, because you do have to explain how he's able really to take a licking and keep on ticking, especially if he's as old as he is now. Yeah. It's like, you got a guy that's been in prison for 40 years and he's an old man and he's still doing what he's doing. It's like, okay, there's got to be something else going on there instead of just, you know, it's like, I know my dad couldn't be doing all that kind of stuff. And he hasn't been locked up in prison. Yeah. So it's just like, I think especially when he takes so many bullets to a chest and he's fine. You got to explain it. That's why we address the whole supernatural aspect to art. And we fully address it in part 2. We fully address that whole thing. It's like we start off just like, okay, yeah, we're acknowledging that there is a supernatural aspect to this character because we got to explain how he keeps coming back, how he's able to take the beating he's able to take and stuff like that. So it's like we address that.
Definitely. Okay, Two Boys and Their Pops, thank you for the super chat. As always, you guys, I have videos for you guys when you do super chats. Thank you for the question. Yeah, that was a great question. Here's one for you, Two Boys and Their Pops. Hope you enjoy it.
Fuck this.
I love it.
I hope you enjoyed that, Two Pups. Thank you. Yeah, so that's crazy. I do have one other person who had a question. Now, the movie is going to be streamed through Screenbox, correct? Will it be on anything else, or is it a Screenbox exclusive?
Right now, it's a Screenbox. I can't talk. Screenbox exclusive. So yeah. So I believe that's coming out. I think November on Screenbox. So they're going to have the run in theaters, and then they're going to release it on Screenbox for everybody. So that's exciting. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? But for right now, the initial release is going to be on Screenbox.
Yeah.
And we're also going to release it on DVD and Blu-ray as well eventually.
Yeah. I definitely got to try to find a theater that's going to play it because I would love to see that in the movie theater. There's just some movies that have to be seen in the theater, like
this is definitely one of those. We learned that last year when at Texas Frightmare we showed 4 minutes of footage of the costume shop scene where you see him with the glasses. And first of all, that was amazing because I think we were the biggest panel they had that whole entire convention. I'm like Malcolm McDowell's there, Denny Trejo, all these people, and we had a bigger panel because we were showing footage from Terrifier 2, and it was like a freaking rock concert. Everything was landing the way we wanted to land. Even things we weren't expecting to get a reaction got reactions. Like, oh my god, this has to be seen in a theater now. This has to. You have because it's. That's why I like to go see slasher movies in a theater because it's a community experience. You're feeding off of everybody's energies. Like one of my favorite moments from when we did the release of Terrifier 1, we did a screening at Lincoln Center here in New York, and it was the scene where I pull out the gun and shoot Tara. So many different reactions happened at the same time in that audience. It was so cool to see this happen. You had people scream because they got scared. You had other people get pissed off because I used a gun. They're like, bullshit. You had other people just start laughing hysterically at them. Like, oh my God, that was awesome. So it was so cool seeing that kind of, vibe and that reaction happen with a live audience. When we had the hacksaw scene, saw some people just couldn't take it and walked out. And you most times you don't want to see people walk out of your movies, but when you're doing something like that and you see people walk out, like, damn, we got them. They just couldn't take it. So yay.
Yeah,
so that's why we definitely want to see part 2 in theaters.
Yeah. So there you guys have it. If you're gonna see Terrifier, please try to go see it in the movie theaters. I mean, that's the one way to definitely support a movie, and these guys deserve it. Terrifier is awesome. Definitely go support them in the movie theater. I know I'll hunt it down even if I got to drive an hour or 2 hours away.
I guarantee you'll have fun. I know we get some people are like, oh wow, it's a 2-hour, 20-minute movie. I'm like, yeah, but you're going to be entertained the whole entire time, and it's not going to feel like a 2-hour movie.
Right, definitely.
That's the thing. It's we keep you going the whole entire time. It's a constant roller coaster ride.
Yeah. So Miss Kirsten, she's a big help on the channel. She's one of my mods and a very good supporter. She has a question for you. She says, so glad to have you here.
Thank you.
How long does it take to do the makeup for art?
That originally took about 4 hours plus to do because we were doing a different method in part 1. I originally had a bald cap they would have to glue to me and paint, and then they would have to glue the face to me and paint, and then let it dry, and then put the black accents on there so that took a long time to do. And that was also a gelatin mask originally. We even used the gelatin mask for most part 2. And the gelatin mask sucks because it's very sensitive to liquids.
Yeah.
And so if like the teeth I wear would sometimes make me drool, and it would destroy my mouth very easily. And I do so many expressions with my mouth, and so it would just get destroyed very easily. Or you've seen pictures of me with Q-tips up my nose. It's because I'm trying to keep my nose from running so it doesn't destroy right here above, because that would always split open. But near the end, we switched to using a foam latex mask instead, and that made the process so much easier. Now we've gotten it down to about an hour, and sometimes change. It depends how much extra blood we have to put on, battle damage whatsoever. But I mean, it's made so much easier, and that foam latex does not disintegrate with liquids on it. It holds up, does not fall apart, so it's wonderful. So, and it's lighter too, so I don't even realize I'm wearing it now. So we're learning as we go. We're learning as we go, but it's getting better.
Right. That's a lot better than poor Robert Englund, who's got to sit in there like 10+ hours. Man, props to him.
It's tough. Like that other movie that I told you about that I can't name yet. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of makeup for that, and the prosthetic I was wearing on my face, the prosthetic I got didn't have nose holes cut into it. So I was having to basically breathe through my mouth. The last day on set, they found ways to bore some holes in there so you didn't notice it through the makeup. So I could breathe, but oh god, that was miserable in itself. So it's just like, ooh.
Oh man.
Even though we don't know what the movie is yet, but when we see it, just know we appreciate you 120% for having to go through that. So
I understand. I appreciate the other actor that came before me that had to go through a similar process. Now it's like, oh, I understand why he was complaining so much.
Definitely. All right, Kristen, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Here is your video for the super chat. Thank you.
You've been spooching with everybody. Snuffy, Al, Leo, little Mo with the gimpy leg, Cheeks, Bony.
Yeah, that's great.
Little Mo with the gimpy leg. Truly classic.
Classic, man.
I love that they filmed a little mini movie for a movie.
Yeah.
For both of those movies. It's just like, oh god.
Yeah, I only learned a couple of years ago that it wasn't an actual movie, that it was just something that they filmed for that. Because I was looking like, what movie is that? Because I got to watch it.
Exactly. It's like, what is this? At that age, it's like, what is this from? I want to see this movie, and it's actually not real. I'm like, oh man. So that's a movie. That's the type of movie I would love to do, is like that kind of humor, that slapstick humor. I'm like, Daniel Stern's in that movie just. Oh, he's so great. That's the scream he does with the spider on his face is just it gets me every time. It just cracks me up. It's like that's some top-notch slapstick comedy in those two films.
Yeah, I crack up every year we watch it. It's just hilarious. Just from the bricks, getting hit with the bricks, and looking up like
what holds up.
Yeah. In the hole.
Mary, like just classic.
Yeah, it's so good. I was like, God, I would love to play that type of character. I love playing idiots. Idiots are so much fun to play, especially idiotic bad guys. They're so much fun to play.
Yeah. Joe Pesci. I mean, they were just amazing in it, And I kind of wish we could. I wish we could have maybe even got just a spin-off movie with just them two being clumsy and goofy, And
oh my god, it's just so when Harry meets Mo.
Yeah.
Mo. Harry made. Oh god, Mo. No. Oh my god, I'm totally blanking.
Harry. You're talking about Marv, I think was his name.
Marv, there we go. Yeah, I was like, why did I say
Marv?
Mo? Harry and Marv. I was like, oh, because I was thinking Three Stooges. That's why Mo.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god. I was also Harry meets Lloyd because in Dumb and Dumber. And I was like, oh my god, you hit 40 and your brain goes to crap. It's
yeah.
So, playing Art the Clown, have you ever had? I guess you could say have you ever had nightmares about Art the Clown? Like, have you ever dreamt about Art? Like, just
oddly enough, no. I've never had a dream or nightmare about Art. No, I had a dream last night about going to the dentist, though, and I was like, oh, God, because I got to get some work done next week. I'm like, oh, God.
how crazy, right? The doctor just turns in the chair. It's Art the Clown with some dental tools, and
oh god, that would suck.
yeah,
That's gonna be a miserable day.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. The things you could do with that. Oh my god. So
but what would happen though if Art? See, now this is another funny speculation. So you got Art the Clown in a dental office, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what if you had Bill Murray from Little Shop of Horrors?
Yes, see, I was thinking that
patient.
just now.
Yeah,
But it's like Art meets Little Shop of Horrors, or oh my god, who's like he's just so into the pain. It's like yes.
yeah, yeah. Art would probably be confused, like a candy bar. I get a candy bar. Like Bill Murray's just a legend.
Yeah.
Oh god, I love that movie so much. That's such a that's one of my favorite musicals too. I love Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, it's an instant classic. I remember growing up as a kid, my dad would show it to me, and waking up Saturday mornings, it would be on TV and things like that. It's just all the little things. Honestly, what I really miss is, and that's one thing I love about Terrifier. Kind of when we go back to the pizza shop, the memories, right? For some reason, it's not just about the nostalgia of the pizza shop, but it takes me back to like the time when back in the 90s when you would look at like you would go to the movie rental store and rent VHSs and order pizza and just sit in front of your big box TV when the TV had guts.
Oh yeah,
and it just
they
and then
weighed like 200 pounds. You're like, oh
yeah. So it's like I miss that, and I get that, which is weird. I get that vibe from Terrifier, all because of that pizza scene. Like that looks like a movie I would have rented. Especially like how it's filmed, like that you would have found on VHS. Because back then, with horror movies, I didn't know what they were, or what the movie was about. We kind of picked movies based on the cover.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I'm gonna try this out, and then next thing you're finding and experiencing horror movies and things like that. So.
Well, we also intentionally try to make it look like that with the color grade and everything we have on the film, the filters we use. So. I mean, we shoot it with all the high def, fancy schmancy stuff that's out there, but we try to degrade it some so it has that nostalgic look to it.
Yeah.
Very definitely get those VHS files, especially that TV in the beginning where it's playing and he kicks it and stuff, and
yeah,
man, so classic.
Oh yeah.
So I actually have to head out, but Nightmare is awesome. He is awesome. He's going to take care of you, man, David.
Oh, thank you.
Before I get off here, I want to show you. When I met you, man, in costume, bro. It was so fun. I want to say, man, I told Nightmare before you got on, he's so cool. He's actually like one of the best, horror celebrities I've met. He's super welcoming. He's funny. And and another thing I want to say before I leave, I remember just being in a panel in Cincinnati, and you were saying like I'm about to do a monologue for the Joker, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
I gotta get my phone, man. So I'm kind of being slow and everything, and I just hear the voice kick up. I'm like, this is not David, man. This is not him. And I remember just the whole auditorium just quiet. And I'm like, wow, bro. Like it was literally like a light switch. You're like, hold up, all right. And then it just comes out of nowhere, bro. Like it was just the experience meeting you, man, twice. And I'm looking forward to meeting you again. And I'm looking forward to seeing Terrifier 2. I'm a huge fan. I have the figure of the mask. I plan on actually doing the life-size art because I just think he's so creepy. So yeah, man, you're awesome. I just want you to know that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Keep killing it. And I can't. Well, you all in my eyes, you're a horror icon, but I can't wait to see you grow even bigger. So
here's hoping, man. Here's hoping. It's exciting. It's very exciting times.
Definitely, man. It was so fun, man. Nightmare, thank you, bro, for having me on here, man. This was
your problem. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
You know how huge of a Terrifier fan I am. This was crazy. Like I said, I'm looking forward to Terrifier 2. And David, man, keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Looking forward to more of your work in Nightmare, man. Have fun, man. Take it in. He's so cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thanks for sticking around and hanging out with us tonight.
Definitely, man. David, like I said, came in to see Terrifier 2. Nightmare, hit me up later tonight, man, and enjoy this, man. This is so cool.
Definitely. Gotcha, man. Guys in the chat, do me a favor. If you guys are new and if you guys are watching, please head over to I Like Scary and subscribe to his channel. Awesome guy. If you want to know anything about Halloween, speculations, ideas, thoughts, all that good stuff, definitely head over to him for sure. He's an awesome guy. So thank you again, Brandon. I appreciate it, man.
No problem, man. Talk to you later, Nightmare. And David, man, thank you. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you. And you take good care of you.
All right. Definitely, man. See you guys. Peace.
All right.
Peace.
Take it easy.
Kill you soon.
Peace.
Brandon is such an awesome guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and if anytime, David, if you got to go, just let me know and
Okay.
we can, you know.
I
But,
can probably stay on for another 30 minutes. So,
Oh, awesome. Cool.
yeah.
So, guys in the chat, if you guys have any questions for David while we have him, please feel free to, ask a question. I'll try to get to as many comments as I can. Now's the time. Yeah. So, going back, if there was one character, I know you said you really want to play the Joker and things like that, but if there was one character that you could really get your hands on, that you can, like, that would be a dream role for you, what would that, would it be the Joker, or do you have something else in mind as far as?
I mean, of course, Joker's the big one for me, but another one I've really been trying to put out in the universe that I would love to do. Actually, two of them. I thought of another one just now too. That's the one I just thought of is the Duffer Brothers recently announced this. They're going to do a live action version of Death Note.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I would love to play Ryuk on that. Oh my god, that would be so much fun.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I put that out in the universe. Y'all message the Duffer Brothers. Tell them you want David Howard Thornton to play Ryuk.
Right.
Let's get that going. Let's get a campaign going on that. But
Start a hashtag.
oh yeah. But other than that, I think it's been proven now that this could work. I mean, I think Deadpool definitely proved this could work now, and especially a lot of the streaming platforms is do a true depiction of The Mask, the comic strip series.
Yeah.
The full gory, over the top, crazy version of that. Because I love the original one, the original movie with Jim Carrey. That's one of my favorite movies of his, and I am such a Stanley Ipkiss in real life. Anyway, so I've always wanted to play that character because I love the duality between the two, and I would really love to sink my teeth into that role because like the Stanley in the comic book is even crazier because he goes full like crazy vigilante, over the top killer type of mode, and I think that would be a lot of fun to do. And that's a series where you could do different things with it because in the comic book series, different people take on the mask. Stanley's the first owner, but then his girlfriend gets it. Then eventually Calloway gets it, the police officer, and he actually becomes like the more heroic version of the mask.
Yeah.
So he becomes more like the superhero type of character with him. And I love that character, and I was like, I would love to see him come back somehow.
Yeah, definitely. And what's crazy is that I'm sorry, but when I see you and I think of David Howard Thornton and Art the Clown, I feel like you can tackle any villain, even if you wanted to go into like the Spawn series and take the was it the Violator?
Violator, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god. I mean, like honestly, like, and this is real talk. Like I can see like you are honestly, when it comes to playing a clown or just anything like that, like I think people need to watch your performance because it is absolutely perfect. I love it. I mean, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw Terrifier, I'm like, I want to be a clown so bad. That looks just so much fun,
It is. That's the thing. It's a lot of fun. It's very freeing. You can that's the thing. It's like when I'm at conventions, I like to just mess around with people, and you can get away with it dressed as like Joker or like Art or something like that because it's like, oh, it's okay. You can do crazy stuff to me. You're funny.
Definitely. So we have another super chat. This is from Emma Garcia. This is actually Sister Nightmare. This is my sister who's watching and supporting. So thank you. She says, I joined late. Not sure if this was asked already. What was your favorite scene to shoot?
That would definitely, in the first film, that would definitely be the pizzeria scene. That was a lot of fun to film because number one, we were inside with, heat and it was comfortable. We had running water because like most of the locations we filmed at didn't have plumbing. so that kind of sucked.
Yeah.
And we didn't have heat at those locations either, so that kind of sucks. So it was nice, but also that's the scene where that's what the character really locked in my head for me. And I'm glad we filmed it early on, because it's like this place, you see so many aspects of his character in that one scene. And so it's like, okay, now I know who this guy is. And I just got to play around a lot in that scene too. So that was definitely the most fun scene for me to do.
Awesome. All right, Emma, thank you for the super chat. Let me get you a video, because you guys that do super chats, you guys get videos. And I know a lot of you guys, if you guys have been with me long enough, you know, in Instagram when I do my lives, you see the skeleton that's sitting in the backseat of the Jeep when we do our horror lunch vlogs. And his name is Tony Ridinger. So here's a quick little video as to why his name is Tony Ridinger.
What are you hungry for? Tony Ridinger. Shut up.
That is the one scene out of that movie that I just remember. And it's just when Tony Ridinger, just classic.
Oh God, I love that movie.
Yeah, I'm so good. When we finally got part 2, I was like, it was about time. I mean, I know it takes forever to do the animation and things, but I remember.
Driving me crazy.
Yeah,
they made so many Cars sequels. I'm like, I don't want another car movie. I want another Incredibles movie, because like that was like a series that easily lent itself to sequels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember when I finally saw that big eye, you know, I was like, finally, about time. Yes. So, Two Boys and Their Pops has another question. Any unexpected things happen on the set?
Yes. It's kind of seems to be like an ongoing thing with me on sets now too, unfortunately. But the first time this happened was on set with Terrifier. It was the night we're filming Jenna's death scene with the guns, and they're filming the prosthetic work with her, with the squibs going off and all that kind of stuff. And so I was waiting in the holding area, and it's late at night, and I'm bored, and I'm full makeup, blood all over me. And I hear this argument on the street outside my window with these two ladies. And I'm like, well, I'm bored. Might as well watch this argument unfold, because it sounds very Jerry Springer-ish. So I'm like, okay, this could be entertaining. And I forgot that they could see me and how I looked. And so in mid-argument, one of them just looks up and sees me in the window. And I just waved at her. I was like, hi. And she, like, eyes just bugged out. The friend turns around and looks too, and they both see me and just scream and go running off. And I'm like, oh no.
Like, oops.
No. Because we're filming in Trenton, New Jersey, which is not a very safe area that we're filming in too. I was like, okay, well, that's probably okay. And at the same time, our producer was filming another movie with Tom Sizemore, and there was rumor that he might come visit our set or something like that. So we're sitting there, and like Damien and Phil, our producer, and the crew come in, and they're all kind of grinning from ear to ear. I'm like, hey, Dave, we got someone here that wants to meet you. I'm like, oh, sweet, cool. Like, well, we want to surprise them, so don't come out until we tell you to. I'm like, okay. And there was like this big roll-up garage door that I'm standing behind. So I'm waiting for them to give me the cue, and like, Dave, come on out. And so I roll up the garage door. I'm coming up, and there's about 15 of New Jersey's finest in full-on riot gear.
Wow.
And I'm like, my butt puckers right there. I'm just like, oh God, this is how I die.
Right.
And when I'm in like situations like that, I always try to diffuse it with humor. And so I was scared. So I just squeaked at this little, what's up, guys? And there's still silence. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to die now. I am going to die. Oh God. And then they just all start laughing their butts off at me. And they're like, oh yeah, if you had been the first one to come out, we would have shot you on sight. I'm like, I don't. Yeah, please don't. But I understand why you would, yes, because this is a very unsafe area, and I look scary. So yep. And there's this one cop that was afraid of clowns too. So they're all getting their pictures made. They're like, hey, come over, get a picture with him. He's like, no. I'm like, dude, you got a rocket launcher on you. I think you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So they're all ragging on this guy. But this has been a common thing that's happened since then. Like when we're doing part 2, there's a an exterior shot where I'm walking across the street into a building, and people are on their way to work that morning. We're racing the sun, trying to get this shot in, and we're filming later on inside the location, and cop car pulls up. We're like, oh God, oh, not again. And Damien's like, Dave, you need to go just totally fuck with the cops. I'm like, no, man, I am not going to die. I'm not going to die. I do not want to die right now. And the cop comes in and sees me in the state I'm in. I can't tell you how I look, but it's an interesting, oh boy. And she's like, I got a report that there was a clown walking in here covered in blood. And I'm like, hi, officer.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, wow. Yeah, I see why I was called. So you guys are filming a movie, aren't you? You're like, yes.
Yeah. So they didn't like call they don't call the police department and say, hey, just to let you know, there's going to be someone covered in blood.
No, they didn't think of that. See, that's also when we're filming Stream. Like I said, we're filming in a hotel. Well, the hotel was not telling the other guests that we were filming a horror movie.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a scene where I'm going down this one hall, and they had all these spooky lights on the hall and stuff like that. And we didn't think there was anybody on that hall because it's in the middle of like January and February during the height of COVID. So we didn't think anybody was going to be there.
Right.
We're filming. I'm stalking down the hall and doing take after take of me just stalking my villain down the hallway, looking around, covered in blood, looking scary. And we cut, and all of a sudden we hear that at the end of the hallway, whatever you're doing is very effective. We are Second Amendmenters, and you almost got shot. And this woman has a gun in her hand.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, and she had been taking video of it. She was seeing me through the peephole of her door. And so we saw the footage. And I'm like, oh my God, that is terrifying.
Yeah.
That is terrifying. It's like, thank God I didn't go up to that door and look.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But I'm like, oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. They didn't tell you we were filming a horror movie here. No, we had no idea. I'm like, oh my God, these stupid idiots.
Yeah.
They should have told you. We're so sorry. We didn't even know anybody was on this hallway.
Yeah.
It's a huge hotel. It's like, this is insane.
I tell you, you know what? I can't imagine if I didn't know anything about Terrifier, Art the Clown movie, and I was coming home or, from a night and I just I see you running at me or just down the hall, I'd probably freak the hell out.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What the hell's going on?
Yeah. Oh, it's funny. It's like when there's, you see it in the trailer where I'm turning the sign over from open to close.
Yeah.
And that day, people were we filmed that in Manhattan, and some people were on their way to work that morning, and our costume was standing outside loading stuff because we were almost done. That was one of the last shots of the day. And one of the takes where I'm flipping the sign over, this one person's walking by the door right when I do it, and they stop and look at me. And I didn't break character. I just looked at him and
Nice.
waved at him and walked away. And like his eyes were just like, and so I heard what all happened after is like Olga's outside and says, oh, she's like, oh yeah, the guy just like talked to himself. She's like, what the fuck was that? And just ran down the street.
Wow. Holy shit.
I was like, oh, that's awesome. It's like, unfortunately, we didn't get, they were filming, but like they weren't able to get that whole entire interaction in focus. And I'm like, oh man, that would have been a great thing to put in the movie. But it's like, but that was so funny. It's just like, but that's the thing. It's like, yeah, people don't expect to see that face just in everyday life.
Yeah, and it's so funny because that reminds me, Kane Hodder had a story like that where they were filming Friday the 13th, and they just got done filming a scene, and he's in his Jason outfit and with his little machete, and he's just walking back to his trailer. So he took a wooded area trail back to the trailer, and there was this old couple that was walking their dog, and he said that they were so scared shitless because you just see this like half dead hockey mask wearing killer on the loose. It didn't occur to him that he was in, it's a long day, so you're going home. So, they're freaking out, and he's like, what's going on?
Oh, it's hysterical. Well, like we were also filming in part two. We filmed part of it upstate New York in Amish country. in Kenajahari out in the middle of nowhere Amish country.
Yeah.
And like one morning we're coming back from set. So, it's about 6-7 o'clock in the morning, sun's out, the Amish are going on the way. So we're passing one of the buggies on the road. And I just wave at the guy while I'm passing him. And you just see him, oh, because no one's expecting that to drive right by them on the road covered in blood.
Yeah. Man, but you know what though, that would be such a more wholesome experience. Like when you find out, like I would love for something to happen like that to happen to me, to where just one day I'm walking and I just bump into you dressed like Arnold, like, wait, what the hell? Yeah. What? Like that's such an experience. I mean, it's probably scary as hell, when you first appear it. And that's one of the scenes that scared me in the first Terrifier was, she comes out that room and you're just standing there like this. Just those, like, you don't expect it, right? You're just doing your own thing and then boom, like, and same thing in part 2 with the trailer where, she's doing something, she looks up and you're leaning there just like awesome. Yeah. That's actually the background I have for this live stream. I just love that image so much, but it's just that like pop up of whoa, what, that shock value is just awesome.
Oh, it's I love those type of moments. It's just like, it's because you don't expect something like that just to be there. It's just like, oh God, that is freaky, especially those teeth. Oh
yeah, and I'm so glad when we're talking about the makeup you expect, because I mean when he's putting that black, I'm like, oh, I can't even imagine like the black paint or whatever, like having that in your mouth, like, because I'm a big Halloween person, haunts and haunted houses, and I've been doing it since probably 7th grade, working at haunted houses, decorating and doing scare zones in front of the yard, so I know what it's like to have that paint or the the blood, and you're just sitting there like, especially when you get that cheap makeup from like Party City or Dollar Tree, and it's like clayish type paint. Most horrible stuff.
Luckily we don't use that for my mouth. He has a paint pen that he basically uses, so that's no big deal at all. But I've dealt with that kind of globby makeup in the past, but the blood especially gets very, very sticky. Yeah, I had one day on set where I had so much blood on my hands alone, I couldn't let go of my weapon. It was just stuck to me, and then they had to peel it off of my hand. Yeah, and then like I had webbed fingers because there was so much blood in between all my fingers, so I looked like I had like webbed hands. So I was like, oh God, I'm so sticky. We had to cut for dinner, so I was like, oh God, I gotta eat like this. Yeah. Like,
living the American dream, right? Like just life goals, just covered in blood.
So sticky. But that everybody else had those moments too, where like, oh God, they would laugh at me at first. I'm like, yeah, just wait till you have to get killed. You're gonna see how fun this is. So much blood, and it's cold.
Yeah, and you know what, and that's another thing, especially I know the viewers, and they're big fans, and that's where you have to appreciate you and the cast and crew, and I mean the things you guys put up with is just crazy, and we never will get to see that. We just go off of stories like you're telling us, and I give you big props, much respect and love, because I mean I could probably do it, but then there's probably times where I'm like, yeah, no, it's cold, I'm wet, like, but you guys, you do it, and I mean, tough. Props to you.
It is very tough. Like that one location we filmed at for the climax of the film was not the most fun location filmed because it was just so cold and long days, long hours, and stuff like that. It's like I think everybody cracked at some point there. That shows how close we are as a team. Like someone just cracked for a second, just loses their shit for a second, and you're like, it's okay, we're all there right now, we understand. I'm sorry guys, I'm sorry. I had one night where I was like, everybody had their breakdown moment in that location. I think it was just one of those locations, but it's like, but because it was just miserable. Oh my God, it's like the stuff we're breathing in, I was just coughing up black crap for a few days. I was like, oh Jesus, where is this? What was I breathing in? I look at poor Lauren because I'm like, I know how cold I was, and she's even more cold than I am. It's like we were really our own support system for each other there too, because it was like she's like miserable and she's like, I don't know if I could get through tonight. I'm just so tired. And like,
Yeah.
it's like we just got to tough this out. It's going to be worth it. We're going to be talking about this in a few years, like how much fun we had, but also how miserable we were. But it was all worth it. So it's like, yeah, some of this is not fun to do. I will tell you that. It's just like when we're doing this for 12 plus hours and it's late at night. You're at 4 o'clock in the morning. You're cold and covered in all kinds of goo and everything like that. You have to have those moments. You're like, oh God, okay, no, I'm doing something that's going to be awesome. This is this is something that's going to be worth it. So just tough it out for right now. As miserable as this is, this is going to be worth it in the end. That's what we would tell each other constantly. It's going to be worth it. Don't worry about it. It's going to look awesome.
Right. And it's going to pay off. I mean, like I said, it's just so much respect and love for you guys, because I mean, the stuff that we don't see and we don't talk about, unless you guys, are asked the question or something. And, actors and you guys go through a lot, and it's, we appreciate it. We love it. It doesn't go unseen. We see that stuff and we're like, man, especially in the first one, I'm like, I know that had to be a pain to makeup and stuff. And, I'm for it, man. I can't even wait. The day will come. I promise you. I can see it to where you're probably going to be on Terrifier 4 and 5. You're going to make it big to where, you're in the movie theaters. And then there's going to be that documentary on a DVD set where you're talking about what you guys did in the past. And I can't wait.
Yeah.
I know
especially Damien. I'm like, I look at, if anybody goes to the ringers, Damien, because like, he's always the first one on set, the last one to leave set, because he usually has to prep stuff for the next day. Something. There would be sometimes days where he had not gone with any sleep. I remember one day in particular where he was so tired, and it just shows how much he trusted the rest of the crew that he just put his head into his hand like this, and he's like, okay, action. The scene goes on. He's like, okay, cut, that looked great. And he didn't look up one moment at all, but he just trusted everybody else on the crew to, if it didn't look good, to tell them. And no one said anything. It's like, okay, most of them is like, let's do another one just for safety. But they're like, he was just so tired. He was just so tired. And it's like, but that's how we all were. We would have just moments of just, we'd just be on this.
Yeah.
But those add some fun moments on set too. We'd just start cracking jokes or, have little dance offs and stuff like that. There was one night with Jason Levy, who was in the first film, he played one of the cops, but he came out and he was wearing Lauren's Valkyrie costume. And it was just the funniest thing. We're just not expecting. He just jumps out, "Hey, everybody!" We're like, "Oh my God!" It is, especially when you know Jason. He is just like such a bundle of joy, and he was a great person to have on set because he's so funny. And so, like, we would have those moments where morale would be a little bit down because we're behind and we're tired and stuff like that. And he would just do something funny, or like one night he just came in with a bunch of cookies and milk from Insomnia Cookies, which were delicious, but I couldn't eat them until at the end of the night because I had all the makeup and everything on. I was like, ugh. I think that's the night I broke too, because I was just like, I want cookies. I haven't had cookies. Everybody's had cookies, and I can't have cookies. I want to go home.
Right. Like, I deserve a cookie, damn it. Like,
I want my cookie, damn it. They're like, Dave, just get to the night. You can have your cookie. Let that be your carrot, your cookie. I'm like, I'm going to get a cookie. Gotta get a cookie.
Well, I'm glad you finally got your cookie though, right?
It was a damn good cookie too.
Great,
good. Insomnia Cookies, please sponsor me.
Those right.
Delicious cookies.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna have to try them out. Yeah, like there's just some bakeries and goods that are just phenomenal. Like we have something over here in Chicago, and it's called Calumet Bakery, and oh my God, their cakes, and so I know what you mean.
Oh, I love baked goods.
Yeah. So Two Boys and Their Pops has another question, and this is actually a pretty good one. You are making scary films, but in your opinion, what delivers for you while watching a movie? Music, jump scares, etc.
Music is. I'm a big music person, especially. I come from a family of musicians. I actually play piano myself, and I was a musician before I was an actor. I was singing and all that kind of stuff. So music can make or break a movie too. It's like look at Jaws.
Yeah.
If you didn't have just that simple orchestration there, it would be totally different. And they've done this with movies where they like movie trailers where they've changed the music in it, so it's like something that's actually a comedy. They've changed it to like more horror just by changing the music, and it makes a difference. The music can really set the tone, and it's like just look at the from the Jason movies. That makes such a difference.
Yeah.
It sets the tone. It really drives a lot of the action. So I think music is definitely essential. Jump scares, it depends how they're done. A lot of movies, especially now, people rely on jump scares way too much to scare people instead of actually being genuinely scary. We have maybe like a few jump scares in the Terrifier films, but we're not trying to rely on those to get the scares. We want the character to be scary itself.
Yeah.
Because you look at the original great movies, they didn't really rely on the jump scares then.
Mm-mm.
It was just the character. So that's I would say character is so much more important than jump scares. If you build the character the right way, that's where you're going to get your scary factor from. You don't have to rely on a jump scare that way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like the tension and the build up, like all that good stuff. Like, I remember watching The Fog for the first time, and less is more, and that movie proves it. Like you really didn't see too much of the the ghosts in the fog and things like that, but it was just what you did see was the scary thing. Like you don't know what's going to come, after, and it's just, I wish movies can do that, because I even made a statement in a past stream where, back then, like in the 90s, nowadays everybody wants everything explained and there's loopholes and this, back then it was just, here's your characters, here's the problem, go, like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with John Candy, Steve Martin, perfect example.
I love that movie.
Try to get home, here's your characters, character A, character B, let's see what happens, And that's what I love. That's what I miss about movies. It was just clear cut. Nobody had to know, well, why did the train break down in the movie? Like, was there something paranormal about the train? It's like, no, it's just broke down. Simple as that.
Just accepted it and went with it. That's the thing. You don't have to overanalyze everything. And that's how we even look at art. It's like, we don't really have to explain him that much.
Yeah.
You don't have to give his whole entire backstory. He speaks for himself in a weird way. It's just like, you know everything you need to know about the character already. It's like, we might dig into his backstory a little bit in future films, but I think adding that mystery there is part of the fun as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So keep it simple sometimes. It's like, you look at the original slashers, very simple in concept. You didn't have extensive plots or any of that kind of stuff. Very simple characters, all that. It was the adventure you took those characters on that mattered. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you said about art, you don't really have to explain them, like you speak. And it's so crazy because, watching the first one, like I felt like you didn't have to know anything about him. Like there was no, like, there's some things, it's like, man, I wonder why he does this or what's in his mind at that moment. But I feel like we've known Art the Clown for years. And that's so odd, and I think you guys did a perfect job at creating this character and bringing him to life, because it's like, I legit feel, like I said, nostalgic, right? VHS and the pizza shop. I feel like I've watched him growing up. And it's so weird. It's like a long lost friend where, if you stop talking to them for a month or two, and then you meet up again, you guys just pick up right where you guys left off. Nothing's changed.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going for. That Terrifier was our love letter to the genre. That's what it was. We weren't trying to be something that we weren't. We knew exactly what we were. Just keep it simple, keep it fun.
Yeah.
And that's how we are with part 2. I mean, of course, we have more plot in part 2, more character development, but we're not trying to be like Jordan Peele. Or like, or A24 film, where like, let's get deep in the symbolism and all that kind of stuff. And like, nah, keep it basic, keep it fun.
Yeah.
Keep it entertaining.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm going to tell you, like, I know the people in the chat, the viewers, and, you know, just fans of you and Terrifier, we enjoy it, you know, and I can't honestly wait to see more movies and, you know, maybe shorts or TV shows, cereal boxes.
Man,
Like,
there's so much more we want to do with this character. He's such a fun little bastard to play, and I'm not done with him yet.
yeah. Well, that's good because I wouldn't want you to go anywhere. I would want you to stay as Art the Clown for as long as you can, as possible.
Yes.
And if that were to change, I mean, we'll start a petition, whatever we have to do.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, guys, if there's any more questions, you know, please feel free to ask. I think we're going to be wrapping things up, and you know, it was a great stream. So, if you guys have any type of question, real quick, you know, just to wrap things up. I don't want to keep Mr. David too long, but you know, one thing, David, I sincerely want to thank you so much, man, for taking the time out. I know you're busy and you got things going on. It's something I'm going to remember. And honestly, when I see the next convention that you're going to be at that's close to me, I'm definitely going to go to it because I got to meet you in person. I want to get a photo with you, and you know, you are more than welcome anytime you want to come onto the channel and chat with us. I mean, I tell people here all the time, you know, everybody's welcome. Come as you are. And, you know, I'm a big supporter of this nonprofit organization called Don't Be a Monster. Mm-hmm. So it's an anti-bullying thing. And I always say in my videos, don't be a monster. Keep the monsters in the movies. Yes. And, you know, that's what I like to do is just promote that type of stuff. So,
thank you.
You know, like I said, you're more than welcome. You know, maybe in the future we can set some up after Terrifier 2.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm
gonna characters you don't even know about yet that we haven't even shown people, that people are going to lose their shit over. Especially one in particular. We can't wait for people to see this character.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like, and that's why this live stream was so awesome. But it's like, man, I know he can't say anything about this, and I know
it's hard. It's so hard. It was so close, though. So close. Then I can start talking again.
Yeah, then we could talk and really have fun.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god.
Let me see. Let me get to the Two Boys Under Pop says, David, you are a class act and always enjoyed your performance and interviews.
Thank you very much.
Spooky Collections 13. He's actually another YouTuber that I collab with. He actually has this awesome bust of Art the Clown, and he says, I hope one day David can sign my Art the Clown bust.
Of course.
I told all my friends to watch Terrifier so more people know it.
Thank you. That's how we are where we are now. It's because the fans telling everybody to watch it. It's like that's the thing. It's like we didn't have the backing from the studio to do all the publicity for us. So it's like the publicity we got was from the fans and the horror fan pages. So thank you.
Yeah. I wish nothing for the best for you, David, and the Terrifier crew, and you know, Damien. I mean, his mind, like, I'm gonna reach out to him too and try to bring him on, because you know, the one thing, like, I love directors, their minds, the brilliance to what they're doing, even if they're just winging it, they're just it's like there's a masterpiece going on in there. Kirsten says, David, you are amazing. Thank you so much for coming on here. We are so grateful. Looking forward to Terrifier 2 and your other movies.
Thank you, Kirsten.
And Larry Warner, another big supporter, he's one of my mods, awesome guy. He says, Art is my favorite clown of horror, hands down. Random question: when the girl snapped your hat in your face, is it true the ambulance was unplanned?
Yeah, actually, both of those are unplanned. That's something the hat going like that. That's something Catherine did in the moment. Also, the booping of the nose. I brought that back up later on when I killed her and I booped her nose after I cut her in half. I was so happy she did that. But yeah, the ambulance was unplanned. That thing went by while we were filming. We're like, oh my God, did we get that? That's perfect. So that was a great thing. So yeah, they were like, we got to keep that in there because it's perfect for, you know, bringing in more life to the universe around. It's like, oh yeah, that's going to the diner that they were just at.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, did that hurt when that's like snapped your foot? Because every time I see that, I'm like, oh, like, ooh.
No. The hard thing was not reacting to it.
Oh yeah.
I was like, okay, just don't acknowledge it. Just let it happen and be like, okay, you're gonna die.
Yeah, like
touched
you're
the
next.
hat. Don't touch the hat.
Yeah, just like Michael's mask. Don't touch the mask. Don't touch the hat. Larry, thank you for the super chat. Let me get you your video real quick, and then I see another question. Let me find a good one for you. Here we go. This is always a classic.
Remind me of when I lost my virginity.
Yeah, right? Like, yeah,
that's horrible. I'm going to hell for that.
Hey, I'll meet you there. We got a card game plan, so we'll save you a seat. So let's see. Okay, so Emma asks, someone asked about the Saw scene. Ha ha ha. Now I'm curious about how that was.
Cold. Very cold and miserable that night because it was like 20 degrees that night and we didn't have any heat. And we could only film 30 seconds at a time because Catherine was hanging upside down. And it's dangerous to put a person upside down. So it was a very, very intense night. That was the one night there was no joking around because, she's in such a compromising position, exposed the way she is. And we just wanted to make her as comfortable as possible and get through it. And so we did. So, yeah. That was not fun, but the sawing through the actual prosthetic, that was fun. That was no stress. So I was like, yahoo! Yeah, I that scene when I saw that was something. Again, pushing boundaries. I was like, oh my god, that is great. I love it. What more? What's next? What's next? Awesome, absolutely awesome. So, all right, guys in the chat, I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the questions. You guys rock. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here right now. So I do appreciate each and every one of you for sure. And, David, once again, I do want to thank you so much for, coming onto the stream and taking time out of your busy day, man. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate coming on here as well and appreciate everybody's support.
Yes.
We could not have made this movie without you guys. Like most of the money that we have made for the movie was from crowdfunding from the fans. So it's like literally the fans made this movie. This is a movie for fans by fans. So we can't wait for you guys to finally see this beast. And it is a beast of a film. Yes.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So David, Chicago Horror Fan says, David, want to thank you for Art the Clown, one of my favorite horror characters. Kirsten says, thank you so much. Amazing stream.
Thank you.
So thank you guys. And, as always, like I say, be safe, take it easy out there. Don't be a monster. Keep the monster in the movies. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you guys in the next video. Take it easy. Be safe.